I just played in the most frustrating poker session of my entire career by far. 5-10. Good morning. It's Saturday, the day before Mother's Day. No clue what the date is. It's 5:45 in the morning. I am vlogging today, obviously. But right now, I'm going to go on a 6-ish mile, 35-pound ruck before the sun comes out. I'll explain what that is later if you don't know. And then after that, we're going to meet up with Boston Jimmy. We're going to get into some poker at the Encore. And then after that, we're going to meet an old friend from St. Louis and maybe have a drink or two. So we got a long day today. Let's get to it. Okay. We're back. 6.5 miles later, an hour and 45 minutes later, with about 35 pounds on our back, we're back. It is time to sit down and get in the shower. Woo!
There ain't no defeat. Yeah. No, there ain't no defeat.
Yeah. Batman. Enough chat. It ain't really done till it's over. I'm in it running, so call me to come back. Yeah. Me no play dumb, me no know that. Me no run with fire, but yeah, I'm that lit. I'm that lit. I got that heart in the grid. I've been grinding. I will not relent. I will not relent. I got the heart of a lion, and I'm looking right at your neck.
So here we are back at the Encore again. We may have been here last night. We may have lost about half a buy-in. We may have been here 2 nights ago, and we might have maybe punted off 300 big blinds with ace-king offsuit.
Jamin, that was then. This is now. Forget about yesterday. Today's different.
You're right. You're right. Today's different. We're going to do different things. And if you didn't know it, at this point, I'm a professional crowd weaver thrower. Professional.
So I get to the Encore, but not quick enough to get a seat into a 5-10 game. So I'm on the waiting list. In the meantime, I'm told there's a seat at 2-5, so I'm ushered to that, slap down $1,500 in chips, and ready myself for battle. The first sign that this wasn't going to go well is that the only empty seat at the table is the dreaded 5 seat. Personally, I hate this middle of the table seat. The whole turning your head back and forth to see all the action tilts me, and when I'm vlogging, it's the worst, as you can't even see the players or the action at the ends of the table. All you can really see is my cards, the pot, and the board. But that's what graphics are for. Oh well, there are bigger problems in the world, so I'll make do with this ghetto seat and angle until I can get a seat change or a table change. As I'm sitting down at the table and beginning to get situated, I see a hand go down in which the big blind, to my right, calls a late position open with queens, turns a set, and cracks aces. Immediately, I think, I want to play in as many pots with this guy as possible. Not 3-betting queens pre-flop there is wild. The very next hand, I'm in the big blind with 6-4 offsuit. The cutoff opens to $15. The button calls. My I don't 3-bet queens guy is now in the small blind. He calls, and I decide to flick in the extra $10 myself. 4 ways we see a flop of queen 5-7 with 2 diamonds in the small blind overbet donk leads into 3 other players for $75.
75.
This isn't a thing at all. And after seeing how he played the queens the previous hand, I really thought maybe he has aces, because that lead is nutty. I glance over at his stack and it looks like he has about $1,000 behind. No one leading like this is folding if a non-diamond 3 or 8 peel on the turn, which would give me a straight. I call the $75 bet, and the remaining 2 players fold. I couldn't ask for a better turn card. The 3 of spades, which gives me the nuts. The small blind leads again, and again, the sizing is ridiculous. $425. I glance over at his stack again to make sure that there are no bigger chips or anything hiding in the back. There aren't.
Yeah, 350 behind?
I then grab enough chips to cover him and push them into the middle, and he snap calls. I mean, super snap, fist pump, insta call.
No, I mean, it's outside. We're building a hole.
The river brings the 5 of clubs, and we both turn our hands over pretty much simultaneously. I show my straight, and he shows me his rivered full house. Ick. About 10 minutes later, a seat at the other end of the table opens up, and I slide over. Fun fact, you can see my empty 5 seat in this shot. You can also see the empty 4 seat next to me. That guy that won those 2 hands by turning a set of queens and then immediately flopping a set of queens left after he played his button. True story.
Right at your neck. I'm cut from a different cloth, a little bit different than y'all. This one's for the people that lived through the evil, that killed all your demons and been through defeat, and you came out a leader resolved. Yeah, slide zone, walk through like it's my zone.
Standard open here with pocket 7s and the low jack. I make it $15, and a friend of mine that knows I could be possibly up to no good raises to $50 in the hijack, and then action folds back around to me. With this hand versus this player, really all the options are viable. Call, fold, re-raise, all are fine. The most often chosen option is to call, which is what I do, and we see the flop heads up. 4, deuce, deuce, rainbow. I check expecting a small c-bet to be fired my way most of the time, and thus I'm not surprised when he bets $35. Holding pocket 7s, there aren't a ton of flops that you feel comfortable with that don't contain a 7. This is one of them. I could protect my equity here by check raising, but my hand is a little too weak versus him. I don't think he's a lunatic. He's just one of those rare 2-5 players that knows how to 3-bet pre-flop. I call. The turn 3 of spades brings in 2 straights, of which ace 5 is a highly likely candidate. I check, and I feel a bit better when he checks it back. I'm now about 99% sure that I have the best hand. The river 9 of spades should change nothing. Besides pocket 9s, there are almost no hands that he should be 3-betting me with from the hijack that has a 9 in them. I check again because he has to bet if he has something like king queen or queen jack. He can't just check it back and let me win. What if I'm just holding ace high? I am a bit disappointed when he checks it back. I turn over my hand, and he quickly pitches his.
Worked hard, now I got a foreign in my home, it don't mean nothing to me. Got a button to me, if you push it, I'm punishing, then you nothing but a glutton to me. Yeah, it's nothing to me. I give you something to see, if you talking to me, then you know I'm talking defeat. Nah, there ain't no defeat. Ain't no defeat in my blood. We don't surrender too much. There ain't no defeat. Ain't no defeat in my blood. There ain't no defeat. Yeah, run that. I'm coming again. Yeah, I do 100 again. I've been hunting again, and I know I'm a 1 in a million. But you better get in your bet. Don't let me get in your head. I do not need the edge. I already see red. You know I see red. I see red again in your mental targets. I see no benefit of being honest. Stop being sentimental. We just trying to get the medal, trying to live it to the fullest and the largest. Yeah, let me slow down. Don't want to lose you. Don't want to confuse you. Just want to compete with the who's who. That's no do-do. Yeah. What you know about hustle? What you know about wealth? What you know about killing the 10 kings still in the ring, no belt? I keep it 100, I come from the mud, and from Brooklyn to London, Jamaica, you know me, I've done it. Ain't no defeat, ain't no defeat in my blood. We don't surrender too much. Ain't no defeat, ain't no defeat in my blood. Ain't no defeat, ain't no defeat.
No, there ain't no defeat. There ain't no defeat. Ain't no defeat. Ain't no defeat.
Feel like I knew if anybody called, I was going broke with this scene.
Like there was no way I was not getting it all in.
Good hand.
Like I just knew it.
I wasn't at this 2-5 game very long. Maybe a little bit over an hour before a seat opened up and I moved over the 5-10.
I don't really like it here. Fake friends, better on the internet. Girls taking pictures with girls they don't like. Guys talk it up like they know a good time. You said...
So we came out to do a quick mid-session update as I transfer from the 2-5 game to the 5-10. But as you can see, the Beach Club is in full effect. And when that happens, they take over my mid-session update spot. I didn't have much to say anyway. What I do have to say is that I lost a big one with the turn straight in my 2-5 game, where the opponent rivered a boat, and was in that game for 2,100, cashed out at 13, so down 800 basically because of that one hand. And now we're going to head back in. We're going to jump into the 5-10. We're going to do better.
Girl, this party sucks, so let's not think too much. Yeah, say the word, I'm gonna follow. Baby, tell me that you wanna be after
Beach
the
Club
party
time.
got me drunk.
Wild.
I move on to the 5-10 game and get the ball rolling pretty quickly with some pretty well-timed pre-flop aggression and a few squeezes. About 20 minutes after arriving, I pick up pocket jacks in the hijack and the low jack has opened to $40. This is definitely a hand good enough to 3-bet, so I make it $110. To my surprise, the big blind cold calls my raise, and now getting a great price, the low jack comes along as well. Odds are, I have the best hand right now. Right now being the important part of that sentence. Queen 8-6 with 2 diamonds. Big blind and low jack check to me, and I elect to check it back. When the turn 9 of diamond hits, the big blind instantly leads out for $300. A gigantic bet out of position versus 2 other players. The low jack folds, and I'm not too far behind. I want to say that I'm surprised, but I'm really not when the big blind shows the table ace queen of clubs. Then the frustration started. I picked up a ton of hands that were clear opens, but then either missed boards completely or got 3 and sometimes 4-bet pre-flop, forcing me to fold. It was maddening. Pocket 4s, pocket 6s, 7s, king queen offsuit, ace jack offsuit, etc. There were a ton of them.
So yes, we are still in the middle of a 5-10 session, of which I think I'm like up $100 or so after an hour. But we got to do some shopping because tomorrow's Mother's Day, and thus I haven't left myself a lot of time. So not end of session break, not mid-session update break, Mother's Day shopping break. I am extra lucky that I have a girlfriend who is also a mother who likes a very particular brand of clothing. It makes shopping infinitely easier.
I did eventually get a reprieve in this hand where the under the gun player opens to $30 and I 3-bet him from the hijack with pocket queens to $100. He calls the $100 and then dark checks, and for once, I get to see a flop heads up and in position. I didn't catch the best board though. 3-4-5 with 2 spades. Overpair advantage to me, but nut advantage to him here, as I'm not 3-betting very much with 7-6, but it's definitely a hand that he might open and then just flat a 3-bet with. I check. When he checks again upon the arrival of the turn jack of clubs, I feel a lot better about my queens. I bet $140 and he calls pretty quickly. Maybe I got lucky. Maybe I caught him holding a jack. The river 8 of clubs to change nothing, and he checks again. I choose a larger sizing on this river, betting $300, and I get 1 chip snap called. I table my hand. He stares at his hand in disgust, and it hits the muck. That's one for the good guys. Another extended period of opening hands meeting 3 and 4 bets commences. Fold, 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 fold. Ugh. In this next hand, the under the gun 1 player opens to $30, and I look down at the darling of GTO next to act, Ace 5 suited. I bump it up to $100, and the only caller I get is the original opener. Awesome. Heads up, in position, again. The flop of Queen 6-7 Rainbow isn't a home run, but it's manageable. I mean, there's a spade, right? And, I guess I could make a straight? It's good enough. He checks, and I continue for $110, and again, he calls. The turn brings the ace of clubs, and he checks once more. I put on the brakes now, too. Check, check. The river 4 clubs? Interesting. The backdoor flush comes in, and our opponent checks again. I tank on this one a little bit. There's a pretty good chance that I have the best hand. Maybe I didn't on the flop, but I likely do now. If I bet here, what am I trying to get to call me? Is a single pair queen going to call? Could I get a hand like ace 10 to fold? I decide this one is close. I check it back, fully expecting to lose sometimes. I expose my cards and don't see his before he folds them. At this table, there's a lot of talk about the Mariano versus Andy Stack straight flush versus ace high flush hand that had played out on Hustler a couple nights before.
$27,000 in the pot. Diamonds are cheap. Do we get a potential diamond flop? Oh, no! You gotta be kidding me! We've got a straight flush against a nut flush.
Yeah. Right, and if we saw those hands in a poker movie, we'd be like, that ain't real. Like that's crazy. Like this is like Casino Royale. Yeah.
There was a lot of talk.
$611,000 pot.
All right, 1, 2, 40, 50.
Headed over to a man who was playing 1-3 a couple of years ago. Just unbelievable.
So, we are going to do a very quick mid-session update, and I know it's going to be quick because there is not a lot going on in that game for me. It is about 6 o'clock. I think I have been here maybe 4 or 5 hours, and at this point, I'm up like $400 or $500, which isn't bad. It's good. It's like $100 an hour. But not a lot of interesting hands. Not a lot of big ones. A lot of bet the flop and win. A lot of bet the turn and win. A lot of boring stuff. But the crew that opened the 5-10 game is leaving, and we now have a must-move game, and our game is now being populated by what looks to be more action-y players. So it goes to reason that hopefully the game will get better in the next couple hours. So hang out. I'll be here. I'll be playing. I'll be hoping it gets better in the next couple hours. Let's hope.
Play one day, one be on Friday night. Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear how it goes.
Did you guys know that Lily had a YouTube channel? I actually spent most of that mid-session update watching her playing a circuit event. So check out her YouTube channel. subscribe.
After a button limp, which is super rare, I look down at pocket aces. This is one of the better starting hands. Too bad the small blind is one of the worst starting positions. Saying that a raise is in order is an understatement. I make it $60 to go, but that doesn't dissuade the button. He comes along. Deciphering where we are on the 9-8-3 two spades flop is a bit tricky, because who on God's green earth knows what range someone is playing when they think the best option on the button is to limp? Odds are, though, we still have the best hand, and we lead for $70. He picks up his cards, shows us ace of hearts, jack of diamonds, and pitches them. I flash him my aces to let him know that he played his hand perfectly.
I had one of them.
I know.
I had ace jack.
Since my light opens were getting punished all night, I decided to tighten up on the button and only play quality. You know what? Never mind. It's easily been about 2 hours since that last hand, and over those 2 hours, most of my hands have been just folds. Very tiring, very frustrating, but it's just part of the game. In the following hand, the cutoff is open to $30 and has been called by the button. The button has been a very active player, mixing it up in a ton of pots with a pretty wide range of hands. I have king 10 of clubs in the big blind, and in this configuration, it's an easy squeeze. We make it $150 to go. The cutoff folds, and not surprisingly, the button stays put. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with this result. I'll take my hand up against the wide range of hands he's been playing any day of the week. 5 of clubs, king of spades, 7 of clubs. Well, that's a good flop. I have a lot of options on the table here, but I keep it standard as the pre-flop 3-better and just lead out. $100. There's almost no pause before he calls my 1/3 pot bet. The deuce of diamonds on the turn is beautiful. We keep the aggression on and size up a lot, attempting to basically polarize ourselves. $400. Now he tanks, and tanks, and tanks. Eventually finding the right decision for him, wrong decision for me. He folds.
Mercy on my soul tonight, I pray. Hit a wall this morning, found a battle I can't face it on my own, and I need to find a song to help me carry on. I know we haven't spoke that much these days, 'cause when times are good, you never think they'll change. But the news I got, you washed my hopes away. And who am I to call? And who am I to call you? Who am I? Who am I? Yeah. When my days are feeling heavy, would you be my sweet lullaby? I heard a voice come tell me in a dream, I'm the song you're looking for. I teach hearts to sing. I bring your burdens, put them at my feet. I'm gonna get you to it all.
Nice, man. We killed that. I think it'll be a nice little vlog scene transition piece. The people will like it.
If you say so, whatever. Country's not my vibe. Hey, where do I go to get paid?
With action folded to me on the button, I look down at my most favorite of my least favorite hands. Ace-King offsuit. and open the action to $30. The small blind folds, and the big blind, who should be continuing with about 50% of his hands, finds the call, and we take this flop heads up. Jack 9-6 with 2 diamonds. The big blind checks. I could check it back here. In fact, I do check it back here quite often. However, versus this particular big blind, a bet might just win this hand. I continue for $50 and get snap check raised to $200. That's all the information I needed to see. I'm beyond dead. Easy fold.
You're falling every time.
You check raised pot. Look at that. It's like 125% check raise. I don't have anything. I never have anything.
Okay, yeah. No, because I would rather go to them. You would rather be 4 than still. Oh yeah.
Just so you know, before she starts, once you go black.
Okay.
I'm just telling you. Yeah. I'm just telling you because there's options. So just know what you're getting into.
Once you go brown, every other color lets you down. That's actually a good one.
The straddle is on for this next hand, so we are playing 5, 10, 20. The under the gun player decides to limp in for $20, and I raise to $70 with ace 4 of hearts. So far, so good. Action folds around to the small blind, and he re-raises to $280, and the under the gun 2 player folds. Ace 4 suited is not ace 5 suited. There's a world of difference between the two hands. My hand should be a fold. Just fold and move on to the next one. However, I don't do that. In fact, of the options available, call, fold, raise, I probably picked the worst one. I call the $280. I get sort of bailed out on the flop of 5-3-4 with 2 diamonds. This flop isn't the best for the small blind. Like, really, really bad. If he has a hand like aces or kings, he hates this. He tanks for a while and checks. I have a pair and don't really expect to get him to lay down any of his overpairs with a single bet here. I check it back. The war can begin on the turn. The turn 9 of hearts is neither here nor there, and he checks again. Time to bet. We slide $400 into the middle, which I guesstimated was about 2/3 of the pot. Figuring most of his non-paired hands were ace and king high type holdings, I wanted to charge him for continuing. Obviously, I expect continues from the lower part of his preflop range, like 4-5 suited, 5-6 suited, but he doesn't have those. And I know this because he folds. We are going to wrap up this session super quick, and I know it's going to be super quick because this footage will probably never see the light of day. I just played in the most frustrating poker session of my entire career by far. 5-10 at the Encore. The game was amazing. The game was very, 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 very good. And your boy, that's me, didn't pick up any legitimate hands for, I don't know, 6-7 hours. Don't get me wrong, I had hands to play. But I either missed flops or there was crazy 3 and 4 betting in front of me and I couldn't play them, or. However you want to slice and dice it,
in the game for $3,000, out for like $3,100, $3,111, I think. So frustrating. I remember I played 2-5 earlier, and I think I was down like 800 in that game. So overall, net down probably $700 for today. And I really don't think there's any footage that would be able to create anything useful. But I don't know. I'm going to take a look at it. So maybe you'll see this, but I seriously doubt it. But if you do, thanks for watching it, because I can't imagine how it's any good. And subscribe and follow and leave me a comment and all those things. Like, and I'll catch you next time, which will probably be tomorrow. Bye. Hello. Today's Sunday. No idea the date, but it's Mother's Day, and we find ourselves at the MGM Grand. So your next question might be, Jamin, are you going to be playing poker at the MGM Grand?
Get your biscuits in the kitchen. I'm a sous chef on a mission. Baby, wiggle it, it's vicious.
Encore's packed. There's almost no parking. I'm burning up hot, not because it's hot outside right here, but because I sat at the MGM pool with my friend Khalees all morning. I'm tired.
Just move it.
Hopefully a 5-10 game pops off, and hopefully we run good in it. A lot of hoping today. Lots of hoping.
See you move it.
Sitting is dumb, but dancing is more fun. Sitting is dumb, but dancing is more fun.
Another beautiful day in Vegas. And that's about all I have to say that is good about this session.
Rain, get your cautious, make it rain. Not let me hear you sing. Just move it.
So for all of yous out there that think poker bloggers just win all the time, in the lab. See you next time.
Everyone makes mistakes, really, it's okay.
Sure, I know that, Doc, but those people don't have YouTube channels.
Good morning. We are vlogging today. 5:45 in the morning. We are vlogging today. I'm not vlogging.
This is a mathematical anomaly I'm in the middle of. A mathematical anomaly.
What is that?
I'll tell you after this ends.
Mercy on my soul tonight, I pray. Hit a wall this morning, found a battle I can't face it on my own.
And it's going to be super quick because this footage will probably never see the light of day.